In this lesson, we're going to find the confidence interval for the difference of two proportions. So a reminder that building a confidence interval is a type of inference procedure where we have a population, and often there are many individuals or experimental units in a population. It's often not possible to do a census where we ask or sample every individual in a population. So we sample well. If we've sampled well, our sample will look like the population, it will be representative of it. And if we've sampled well, we can make an inference using our sample about the population. So you've already looked at how to build a confidence interval for a sample proportion. So we would use a p hat to try to capture the true proportion of something. So in this lesson, we're going to be trying to capture the difference in two proportions. So we may have two different groups. So I'll call it p hat 1 and p hat 2. So maybe we're looking, is there a difference between male and females, or a difference between how Democrats and Republicans vote, or any two differing parts of our population. So we will be having two separate samples and seeing if there's a difference. So we're probably most times going to observe some difference, but we want to capture the true difference in our population. And we'll build a margin of error because this idea that samples vary. So if I drew a different sample tomorrow, it's going to be slightly different. So the true proportion is going to fall within our confidence interval. So let's build a confidence interval to figure out which gender uses Twitter or X more. We have a recent random sample of 200 US females, revealing 110 use Twitter regularly. A separate random sample of 150 males revealed that 60 use Twitter regularly. And we are to construct a 95% confidence interval to capture the true difference in the proportions of US adults who use Twitter regularly. And they give us the direction. If they didn't give you the direction, I suggest doing whichever proportion is greater. Like it says, the proportion of female would be 110 out of 200 or 55%. And our sample proportion of males is 60 out of 150, and that's 40%. So I would always do the bigger minus the smaller. It's just easier to talk about. So we begin our state plan do conclude model the same way we have before. We want to construct a 95% confidence interval to capture the true difference, and then I put the direction in the proportion of US females and males who use Twitter regularly. Okay, so I clearly have my parameter stated. The plan requires the most amount of work. I start by stating my inference procedure. If conditions are met, we will construct a two-sample Z interval for proportion of females minus the proportion of males. Again, notice that's a parameter, right? So my first condition is that we need to have random and independent samples. It is new for us to have to really specify that our samples are independent of one another, okay? So you can't be both male and female here. Next, we have the 10% condition, where 200 is less than 10% of all US females and 150 males is less than 10% of all US males. We need to show that 10% condition because we are sampling without replacement from a finite population. Lastly, our large counts to prove that we can use a normal distribution to calculate our z-star. So the large counts condition is the one that needs to be checked for both samples. So this is where you'd either do n times p hat, but we have the expected counts of successes and failures. So we have 110 female Twitter users and 90 female non-Twitter users. And then for males, so we're checking for the other sample, that's 60 male Twitter users. And that would make 90 to add to 150 male, 90 male non-Twitter users. So our conditions are met. Let's go to the do portion. From your formula sheet, I just brought in the general formula for all confidence intervals. So we need our statistic, which for us is p hat sub f and p hat sub m, plus or minus our critical value. So we're going to be using z star for a 95% confidence interval times the standard error of the statistic. So pull out your formula sheet, see if you can figure out which is the correct standard error. I just brought in a formula sheet, and you can see for two populations, here's my mean, my standard deviation, and here's the standard error. These are identical, except this uses p, this uses p hat. We don't know p, we're trying to capture it, so that's why we're using standard error. This portion down here is not used. We are not assuming our true proportions are equal. That happens with significance testing. So I'm filling in that my general formula is the standard error of my two sample proportions, females minus males. So my sample proportion of females is 110, use Twitter, out of the 200, minus the males, it was 60 out of 150, and that is 55% minus 40% gives me that observed difference of 15%. That's my point estimate. And we're going to add and subtract our margin of error. And the margin of error is this portion I'm highlighting. Okay, so find your Z star now. Reminder of how to do that. We are using a normal distribution. We went through our conditions to see that that's possible. So we're looking for what critical values correspond to a 95% area. So I can use inverse norm to get my critical value. Where I use 0 for my mean and 1 for my standard deviation, and I get 1.96. Just a quick note, if you don't have my calculators where it says center, your inverse norm is not going to give you the middle area, okay? It's going to most likely, most calculators give you this left area. So if you want the Z star that's right here, you would have 95%, but then there would be 5% left out in either tail, right? So that you'd have 2.5% over here. So when you put your area into the calculator, you would have to use 97.5, 0.975 as your area to get the same Z star of 1.96. And then I'm just going to plug in to get my, perhaps you hear my puppy whining next to me. She really wants me to be playing rather than recording a video. All right. So my first sample for the standard error, 55% females use Twitter, makes it 0.45% who don't, and 200 is the sample size. Then I switch to my other sample of males, which is 40% and 60% over a sample size of 150. So once you put all that into your calculator, you will get your confidence interval. So my confidence interval is as low as 4.6% and as high as 25.4%. So 15% like in the middle. It looks like our margin of error is causing us to add on. This is approximately like 9% on either side. Actually, I guess it'd be 10%, more than 10% on either side of that. Okay, so all we have left to do is to write our conclusion. So our confidence is in our interval. We are 95% confident that the interval from 0.046 to 0.254 captures the true difference, and I always put in parentheses after it the direction I'm subtracting to make it super clear, in the proportion of females to males who use Twitter regularly. If you notice, I just added the word US in here to really emphasize the population. Okay, so I want to point out some things that are super important now that we're dealing with the difference in two proportions. So a new change, we've got three conditions, right? So with the random condition, the data has to come from two independent random samples. Okay, so we didn't have to stress that word independent when we're only dealing with one. Or from two groups in a randomized experiment. So the example I did here, it wasn't an experiment. Okay, the other conditions we've looked at before, 10% where you check it for both samples, and large counts. Make sure you're using p hat. And this is where your successes and failures both have to be at least 10. And now, big picture conceptually, why do we do these things? So why do we have to check the random? It's so we can do our inference, so we can make a generalization to both populations where we have random samples, or if we're talking about an experiment, it's so we can show causation. Why do we now have to say that these are independent of each other? It's so we can add the variances in the formula for standard deviation of the statistic. Why do we have this 10% condition? It's so we can view observations as independent in each sample when we are sampling without replacement from a finite population. Why do we have to check the large counts condition? It's so that the sampling distribution of the difference in our sample proportions will be approximately normal, and we can do these critical value calculations. I encourage you to pause and look at the screen and really comprehend all the text. What else could be new in this would be the name of our procedure, right? So it's a 2-sample Z interval. Or make sure you use parameters P1 minus P2, okay, because you're trying to capture the true proportion. If you're using hats, that's the statistic. Lastly, let's add in some thoughts about interpreting our interval. So our interval in what we just looked at was approximately 4.6% to 25.4. I might be a little bit off there. So what that's showing me, like if somebody said, do we have evidence that more females in the United States use Twitter than males? I would say we have evidence for that claim because we have all positive values, meaning the proportion of females is greater than the proportion of males. Okay, so in general, when you're interpreting, I guess really three things could happen. Your interval could have all positives like we did. In that scenario, we have evidence that P1 is greater, the proportion of females for us, the true proportion. Okay, well, it could both be negative. And again, I kind of watch for that though at the beginning. I purposely I have an easier time mentally of talking about things in a positive way. I get into double negatives and can confuse myself. Maybe you're fine. But this would tell me that if they were both negative values in our scenario, we'd have evidence that the proportion of males is greater. And then the third one would be like, what if our values go from a negative to a positive? Well, in this scenario, it looks like we have, it could be P1 is greater or P2 is greater, or it could be, more importantly, zeros in that interval. So if zeros in that interval, we have evidence that there could be no difference.